Mothers are the masters of multitasking. It's like we often feel like we have 8 arms taking care of things and that we're doing 100 things at the same time, right? Don't you feel that? I know all mothers say they feel that at some point in time, like they're doing a zillion things and they have so much on their mind. That's what I hear a lot about. I have so much on my mind. It's really hard to keep track of one thing because we have so many responsibilities to handle. So I wanted to take the time tonight to talk about multitasking. When we're handling multiple things at the same time, it sounds intuitive. It makes us feel, well, I'm doing a lot. I have to take care and do a lot of things, so I'll get more done if I do it all at the same time. That sounds instinctive. But we're going to talk tonight whether that really helps or not. So I want to say hello to people as they're joining in. It's always a joy to see people joining our community with us. I'm going to say hello to Tanya, and I'm going to say hello to Eileen. Those are the first 2 people I see tonight, so I am so delighted to see you. And I love the hearts and shapes that I see Eileen sending up. I send my hugs to you and to your family and everybody joining us, to your family. I see other people joining in as well, so I want to welcome everybody. And welcome to this really important topic of multitasking. Because as mothers, we all handle lots of responsibilities. And very often we figure, I have so much to handle. Why don't I just do it all at the same time? I'm going to be more efficient. I'll be more productive. I can't put off doing my other thing till later. So I'll just do it all at once. A typical scene, tell me if this sounds familiar to you. You'll have 1 or 2 things up on your computer and then a couple of things on your desk that you're handling. So you have a few different projects in front of you. And then somebody calls you about a totally different project. And you're trying to eat lunch at the same time, right? Doesn't that sound like a familiar scene? So I'd like to talk today about whether multitasking really helps us or not. And you know that I like the workshop kind of format. So I want to start with a very brief quiz, just a few questions. 1 question, multitasking means that you get more done in less time. Yes or no? True or false? Does that really happen? When you multitask, are you really getting more done in less time? I'm going to have you keep track of your answer, and we'll be answering that as we go along. 2 is, with multitasking, are you really more efficient in getting your work done? Number 3, and again, I'm going to be going over the answers to these. Does multitasking increase stress at all? Does multitasking increase stress? And 4, does multitasking affect our accuracy in our work? Any change in the amount of errors that we make when we're multitasking? So I wanted to start with those 4 questions because, again, instinctively, it sounds like a great idea. We have so much to do, so why don't I just handle it all at the same time? And that's why multitasking is appealing. It makes us think we're getting more done. But multitasking, first of all, is a trigger for stress. Because when we're handling all those things, it is stressful. And so multitasking increases the cortisol in our bloodstreams. It increases our stress hormones. Multitasking also, when we think we're handling multiple tasks and projects at the same time, that's not the way our brains are wired. that would make our brains wired like multiple computers next to each other, handling multiple things at the same time. Our brains handle really one thing at the same time. When we're multitasking, it's really sequential tasking. We're really moving back and forth. We may have a bunch of projects in front of us, and we may think we're handling it all, but we're really attending to one thing, and then to another thing, and then probably back to one thing. And the problem with that is there's a delay, there's a lag when we switch from one task to another. So there's a very brief delay when we say, you know what, I'm doing this, now I'm going to do the next task. It takes us a little bit of time to leave the one task behind, and then when we go to the other task, it takes some multi-seconds for us to figure out, now where was I at on this task? What am I doing? What am I up to? So again, when we go back and forth, we do lose some time keeping track as we go to a new topic, and then we go back to our other project that we were doing. We're not really necessarily saving time. We're actually lagging time in switching. So that's one thing to be aware of also. The brain is not wired to do multiple things as if we would have like multiple brains or multiple computers working on different tasks at the same time. What we're really doing when we think we're multitasking is sequential tasking. We're going back and forth between tasks. And for an example of why it causes stress, if you think about a juggler juggling pins, they do that, and it's a little stressful for them to keep track of those pins. They do it for 1 or 2 or 3 minutes. But imagine when we multitask, we're sitting at work at our workstation, probably doing it for hours at a time. Imagine the stress that we're exerting and opening ourselves to when we really are multitasking. So I wanted to mention that and to make people aware that there are those disadvantages of the time lags. The time lag of letting go of one task and then picking up the next task, the second task, and figuring out, now where am I at now? And then when you let go of that task, going either to another task or back to the original, there are lags. So when we think we're saving time because we think we're doing multiple things at once, we're really not. It actually costs us time. What about accuracy? The research in multitasking shows us that we are less accurate. We make more errors when we do multitasking. And again, that's because we're keeping track of multiple things at approximately the same time within a time period. We're not just staying and focused on one thing. We're going back and forth. So we're losing on the time frame, we're losing on errors, and we're gaining stress. And I wanted to mention that because I think it's so important. It's so common for busy women to be multitasking and doing those multiple tasks, one after the other and back and forth. And so I want you to be aware of it because multitasking is a habit. And it really is not a habit that moves us forward. So I tell people, try to resist multitasking and try to stay on one task at a time. And I know for a lot of people that's hard because it's such a long ingrained habit. So I want you to think about not multitasking. See if you can singular task. You'll get things done in better time. There are fewer errors. And most importantly to me, less stress if you can handle one thing at a time. And I know it's a habit that's hard to let go. Some people, when I explain this, can just do it and say, okay, I can do this. And some people say, you know what, I don't think I can do this. I'm so used to doing it. I can't stop my brain from going back and forth. And if that's an issue for you, I would be happy to have a conversation with you and give you some suggestions on how you can let go of multitasking. Because I really am dedicated to helping busy women be more productive, be more successful, and be more happy. And again, multitasking is such a common habit that doesn't help us. So I would love to talk to you about your habits. We have a lot of habits. Many of them are subconscious. We don't even realize we do them during the day until we have a conversation and think about our actions and our steps. And by looking at your habits, you really can build a pathway to greater success. Because your habits really are the dots that get connected during your days that build success and happiness and productivity. If your habits aren't supportive of what you need to get done, then you're probably not going to be as successful and as productive as you could be, and then as happy as you could be. I want you to reach the ultimate in all. I want you to be successful and productive and happy. So if you'd like to look at your habit of multitasking, and if you'd like to look in general at your personal productivity, I'd love to help you look at your habits and think about how you can gear up your personal productivity. What are your personal habits that help you? What are the ones that are obstacles that get in your way? And how can you use these habits to help you become more productive at work, more supportive at home, and more successful in your life in all of the things that you do? So again, I would love to help you think about your habits. Let's look back at that quiz that we talked about in the beginning. So 1, multitasking means that you get more done in less time. And that is not true. The research shows that you lose time when you multitask with the lag points. The second, with multitasking, you're more efficient. And you're actually less efficient when you switch and do that sequential movement among your tasks. And third, the connection of multitasking and stress. Multitasking does increase stress levels because you're handling so many things at once. That raises the stress hormones. And finally, multitasking, the research shows that multitasking does increase errors in our work, in our task performance. So I want you to think about it and remember, and when you find yourself multitasking, try to get yourself on a pathway to singular tasking. Again, I know that's not always easy because habits are often long ingrained in what we do. If you're having trouble letting go of multitasking, feel free to let me know. If you'd like to talk about your personal productivity and figure out what are your habits that support you, what habits can you implement to support yourself better at work and at home and with family, I'd be happy to have that conversation with you. Again, remember your habits are repetitive, and your habits are the dots that really get connected to lead you either to success or to feeling that you're not getting what you want in your productivity, in your outcomes, in your results. So let's build strong habits for you. Let's build strong personal productivity for you. Let's watch out for obstacles like multitasking that are so common, so intuitive, and tempting. And let's really get on a great pathway of optimum productivity and success. I am always happy to join with you. I always try to take some important topics that really can make a big difference in our lives at work and at home and with our families. If you have a particular topic that you'd like me to talk about, feel free to DM me or schedule an appointment. I'm happy to talk. I also sometimes talk in workplaces and organizations on particular topics. Let me know if you have a particular group where you would like me to get involved. If you have any friends who you feel would be interested in our topics, feel free to have them join our group and watch our trainings. And of course, make sure you come into our group in Facebook during the week. For every day I put recommendations in. Make sure you come in daily to see, and I often invite people to comment on my posts. And of course, make sure you come back every Sunday at this time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific Time. And I'm always here with a new topic. I am so happy and delighted that you've joined me tonight. And I congratulate you because by being here, I know that you are going to move forward. So I'm excited for you. I look forward to being with you again during the week in our group and here again next week. Have a wonderful week coming up, and let's talk again soon.